of a dream is the most adorable thing in the world. It kind of sounded like he was having one.
Murph does that when he is whatchamacallit, like just doing things he doesn't want to do. Like he's like in the bath, he'll just I just kind of make noises like that.
Just letting you know, like, I'm not a big fan of this. Yep. The dog, just the noises that they make are adorable. Like Stevie, it almost seems like she's like whining, but in a cute way. It's like, I don't even know if I can really replicate it, to be honest. It's such a like,
that's not about right.
Yeah, you know, but or that she starts like kicking in her sleep too. You can tell she's like chasing after something. Does he ever have those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think probably most dogs do to some degree, but he just got he got his he had a cracked tooth.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
We had to get it extracted, so that was Wednesday.
Ouch.
He's doing okay now. He seems to be somewhat back to normal, like because I think you have the anesthetic and you have like the drug. The anesthetic is still kind of in your system, and so we got him back on Wednesday, evening, and he was kind of just like real loopy. It was really cute. Meg was saying, obviously, like he's neutered, so like she's like, yeah, he kind of had the same look when he was neutered, but he's just real loopy, real sleepy,
just for some slightly different reasons.
Yeah, and then the ball cutting reasons, and then he was still a little bit down yesterday as far as his energy levels. Like he was fine, but like energy levels, and then he's still bleeding a little bit, like out of his mouth, which is kind of sad. But he's got some stitches in there that are stop licking the wires, Murph. Don't do that. Also not great. But yeah, he's still got some stitches in there, but they said that they'd kind of either dissolve or like they wouldn't, or if they don't, they're just gonna, or she said they're gonna fall out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And like if they don't worry about it. But like they probably will. I'm like, okay, well, sure. Seems like two different things you're telling me, but all right, cool. I'll trust you.
Well, especially like when they have a surgery like that, I feel like you just empathize so much more with him. You're like, oh, I just want you to be back to your normal, adorable self. Like I can tell you're hurting, or like when you're when they're sick too, you can just they have a little upset stomach or something. You're like, oh, I just want to help you.
Well, it's terrifying because like imagine even a human is very worried about surgery. We understand certain things, but like the dog, I mean, so Murph had to go in and like, if pet hospitals need to do this, like it is what it is. Like I'm not gonna get mad at them, but it's like he had to go in prior to 8 a.m. to do like, blood work, right? But then he doesn't actually have the surgery until like late afternoon, so he's just
sitting there
chilling in the hospital, and it is what it is. I'm not sure how exactly they all run. Maybe they all run like that, but it was just kind of like it's kind of sad to think, oh man, this guy doesn't know where he is. Like he doesn't know, like his people aren't around. Like Meg and I aren't there.
Yep.
So yeah, we got I think she was really distressed about that, and and going to see get him back is like the most relieving thing you can do, right? Because it just like finally he's back home. We can take care of him now. So
and then you kind of get the report card. Like they'll go through like. In this case, the surgery went well. He's doing great. Here's your little goodie bag to go home with. But the dropping off of your dog, that's so hard because like Stevie, she'll just start whining and freaking out. Like I've actually gotten called like 5 minutes after I left to drop her off. And it was just like a regular check-in yearly deal. And they literally called me like 5 minutes. I was actually just going to come over to your Orange Theory to just pop my head in and say, hey.
Oh, yeah.
But
at Banfield?
Yeah, I was at Banfield. Yeah, that's where I went. And so anytime I go to drop her off, I always just pop my head in to see if anybody is there that I still know. And I wasn't even able to make it to the front door before I already heard my phone buzzing, felt my phone buzzing. And then
you heard it too.
I heard it too. You can hear it.
That is ears of a wolf.
That is of a wolf. I wish. And then, they were just like, you know what? We just had a little note in here on Stevie's profile that she actually does better with you in the room. So if it's not too much trouble, if you haven't left the parking lot already, if you'd be willing to come into the room with her, I think this would go easier. I was like, oh yeah, no problem. So she's got that just like, I don't want to be here because that would suck. You're torn away from your home. It's creepy. It's weird. I mean, you just get transported into a different world and you have for no idea what reason. And then you see the only thing that you've ever loved as this human walking away from you as you're then probably put in a crate.
Yeah.
And then you have to sit there for 4 hours and you hear all these other dogs whining and crying. That's got to be fucking terrifying.
Well, and so it's interesting. Meg and I and Charlotte went to this dog show When I say dog
You went
show,
to a dog show?
it was like a museum with like a dog exhibit. I guess that's a better way to put it. It wasn't a dog show.
That sounds cool.
There were no dogs there, which is a bit of a bummer. We were kind of looking forward to seeing live dogs, but they were all dead.
That's fair.
No, no, there were no dead or alive dogs. All right. Anyways, but yeah, we were in Charlotte, and it was interesting. I remember one part of the exhibit they had like a thing that you could. It was kind of like almost like a visual kind of like thing that you could put your eyes into it, and you could hear like this. That's like kind of stereos on either side.
Okay.
It was like a kind of like I want to say it's kind of like a lookout thing that you put your eyes into, that you're like looking around, like a binocular kind of deal.
Yep.
But it was like see the world from a dog's perspective, and you could like it was like they would amplify these sounds, and it was like this is what your dog hears.
Fascinating.
And it was actually horrifying because they had like a city block, and I was like, wow, this is the loudest shit I've ever heard in my life. And I felt like all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, this is what I exposed my dog to, like when I'm walking in the street.
It makes way more sense when you recognize like the one thing that will really get Stevie. It's not car horns or big buses per se, but it tends to be anything that like flaps in the wind. So if you have like some big canopy, or if like at a construction site you're going down, there's just some big, again, flap of fabric that when the wind hits it on a good day, kind of gets that whoosh kind of sound to it. Everybody knows what we're talking about. And that's the one thing.
Flaps.
It's just like, and that like really gets her that nervous. And I never, she would like yank on the chain, like drawing back. Fuck, what's going on? It's like the equivalent for us, like hearing a gunshot or something.
Yeah, like a loud bang or something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you pretty jumpy?
Jumping out. I mean, like,
I'm not. Michaela's pissed at it. She always wants to try to get me. She never can. Yeah.
No one didn't get him there.
That would have been funny. Check in on the video. That would have been so good.
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm really. I mean, I can be. Yeah, like so. I always think about this time I was watching. I went to back when the first Conjuring movie came out.
Ooh,
have you seen that one?
Oh God, yeah.
I went and saw it in theaters, and there's a scene where, like, there's this scene where this woman kind of like this ghost woman kind of like jumps out of nowhere, which is very typical for a horror movie. But
the one when she's on the cabinet.
No, it's that the cop is in the kitchen. I believe it's like the police officers in the kitchen, and like the woman like kind of like walks in like the background.
Oh yes.
And then he kind of like turns around, and then like it's normally you'd see a jump scare from like the front, but it was from like the side or something like that. So it kind of like got me.
Okay.
And I was like, I kind of like yelled. And I remember, so I'm a little bit jumpy for sure. I think like, I guess I am jumpy. Like, so Murph does burp as well. Like pretty.
I thought I heard one of them.
No, that was him just doing his but he does burp, and he did it like in the hallway this morning, actually, like pretty loudly, like it echoes.
Yep.
Too. And so I kind of like, I got a little startled about that too. I was like, what the fuck is that? So yeah, I'm jumpy, I guess.
Stevie's had a couple of those burps that'll get going really well. The Conjuring, that's like one of my favorite scary movies to watch. We're currently on a scary movie kick, and the two that I just recently watched,
October after all,
is Halloween, the original Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis, who I found out was like 19 at the time of shooting. I was like, holy shit, you were young.
That movie came out in 1976.
Something in there.
Like that.
Yep. And then we also watched the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh.
The original like Freddy Krueger one.
Oh, yeah.
First time having watched both of them. And have you seen either?
I have seen Halloween.
Okay.
I have seen parts of Nightmare on Elm Street. I've seen parts of it. I had not seen the whole thing.
Okay. Oh, and speaking of Nightmare on Elm Street, if it was a young Jamie Lee in the Halloween, young Johnny Depp
in Nightmare
on Elm Street, yeah, young. It might have been even like one of his first roles, because going through the initial opening credits before you got to the movie, it said introducing Johnny Depp. So I was like, oh, maybe that's actually
Cry Baby as well. Well, he was in he was a young kid in
Gilbert Grape.
Was that him?
With him and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, yep. Okay.
I never that I didn't see it, but I know that's one of his early, I think, movies too. So maybe this was one of the first ones. But yeah, it was just interesting seeing this, because in the movie he just plays the boyfriend of the main girl, I guess you could say. But it was so hard to just not get Captain Jack Sparrow out of my head every single time watching him.
But why is the rum gone?
Yeah, exactly. And he's doing his weird hand things. Like, no, this one he was just wearing like the classic, red, white, and blue T-shirt and had a good head of hair. But like they don't scare me. Like The Conjuring, and I know it's at that time in that place. Like if you were a kid back in
Yeah, it's
'76,
40 years later.
I mean,
yeah.
holy shit! Watching Halloween was probably terrifying because there was nothing like it that you had seen up until prior. And I kind of viewed this as like when I first watched Jaws, and I was like, really? Like the big rubber fucking animatronic shark was the thing that scared you? Like clearly that thing is fake as fuck. How did that scare you? And that I kind of got that same reaction watching Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street. You watch Conjuring though, and that is just some next level.
Well, I saw Jaws when I was about 6, and
Ooh, okay.
it's so like for me, I still get kind of like nervous in open water. Not like, and I live
just a normal human physical response.
that could be true too, but we live in Minnesota.
That too.
But it's like, man, sometimes if I'm on the lake or something like that, I'm in the water. I'm like looking around me a little bit, and I know certain things about sharks. So I know their secrets.
Like what?
I know their secrets. Well, so for instance, like there are sharks that can survive in fresh water. Now, a lot of those are going to be more attached to rivers, right? And like it's very, very rare. And by very rare, I mean like once every tens of years or whatever.
Well, they found like bull sharks in the Mississippi.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, bull sharks. So and they've been pretty far up north. But like if you're going swimming in Lake Harry, which is a local lake, the Twin Cities, you're not gonna have a fucking shark.
No.
But I think I think it's that like and that feeling of like what's you don't know anything around you. Right? You have no idea what's around you.
Oh yeah. And you're just
kind of that nervousness.
So vulnerable. You're so out of your element at that point in time. Like what the fuck are you gonna do in the middle of the water?
But let me say this right now, because this is a pro or at least neutral shark podcast.
For now. No black and white takes.
No black and white takes. I haven't even said the intro yet. But this is the cold open. Sharks, you're more likely to die from heart attack for sure.
Yeah, no shit.
I meant to say lightning strike. Lightning strike. You're more likely to die from a lightning strike. I think you're more likely to die from a bee sting as well than a shark attack.
A lot of bee stings.
A lot of bee stings. So sharks are not as dangerous as we believe. Sharks typically are not man eaters like any creature it can be, but those are very, very rare. For the most part, they mistake you for like sharks will mistake surfers for like seals because they're dumb as fuck. They're smart, but they're dumb. And like the thing is though, is that sharks investigate the world through their mouth, right? Like their teeth. And so they'll give a human like a test bite. But the thing is that test bite is going to fucking, cut your leg off. So it's just the fact that they're so damn dangerous. You know what I mean? It's like, thinking about like a car giving you a love tap. Like, okay, well, that car is going 40 miles an hour. So it's a test tap. But so that's just what sharks are about. So
that's probably like the one thing. I mean, going on a vacation, I just don't know if I would have any fucking interest in surfing, especially in an area that's like, oh yeah, there's like sharks in the water. Oh, there's been known great white shark attacks. Like, I think I would be very hard pressed to be in a situation like that. I haven't, but just imagining, I just don't know if I could do it. I'd be out in there on the fucking water, and that would be the only thing I'd be thinking about is like looking down on the water and just seeing a fucking pair of jaws coming at me. If I'm even lucky to see it coming. I mean, no way.
There's definitely, and usually I think the northern coast of California or like Australia, those are kind of more great whites are typically in deeper water as well. So
southern tip of Africa, I think, is another one where they jump out of the water too.
Yes, because they go from the bottom and like swim down, essentially propelling themselves up.
Torpedo coming at you with teeth and a not happy attitude.
Well, the thing is, you always have to be smart. So it's like you want to make sure that you're swimming or surfing or water or whatever in bright conditions, or there's like low light, like early morning, late at night, bad time to do it. If you notice that there's a bunch of fucking seals around, probably don't swim in that area with the seals around it. You know what I mean?
You got a dead whale carcass off the shore. You're like, probably not.
They can smell blood or can detect blood from just miles and miles and miles away. So it's like, no open wounds. Be very careful about that. You can't control everything. Wetsuits help with that too. But so, yeah, I mean, like, they're terrifying, but at the same time, it's like you're typically not going to experience them. I'm excited to. We talked about at one point in this podcast, because there's been 30 some episodes, we have to have mentioned it at some point. I just don't remember. Like kind of like bucket list things.
Mm.
And one of mine is to go cage diving.
Yeah.
With sharks. So.
Ooh. But any particular, like, would you just do cage diving with any type of shark? Like, just, hey, cage diving is cage diving, or
did Michaela do cage diving?
Yeah,
when she was in Hawaii.
Yeah, she did. Gosh, which would have been now just a couple weeks back. And did it with I can't remember the type of shark, but basically just the equivalent of like a black tip or white tip, like reef shark.
That's exactly what they're called.
Yeah, that's
the name. That's the name of the shark. Yeah.
Well, like that's one of. I don't know if it was that specific species, but nonetheless, it was something very comparable to that.
White tip reef shark, black tip reef shark. Those are both like smaller kinds of sharks.
I feel like it would be like if I was to do that, I would want to do it with like a bull shark. I'd want to do it with a tiger shark, and great white would be the obviously pinnacle.
Why bull or tiger? Those are the most dangerous.
Exactly, for that reason, just to be able to like, oh, if I went cage diving, I didn't want to do it with like the cute reef sharks. Like it's still a shark, but like in my mind, if you're gonna do it, then do it.
I feel like you're underestimating the terror of like a 3 foot, 4 foot shark. Those things are still fucking big.
Did you ever go to? This was when I was a kid. It was like a field trip to the cities, maybe the Mall of America, but there was something where they had like the underwater attraction. Do they still have that?
The underwater world, yeah.
Is that underwater?
Mall of America.
Maybe it was exactly this place, and I want to say, don't know if they still do, have a like petting pool kind of thing, right? And then there's, I don't know, stingrays and like little tiny sharks, or
there's stingrays without their stingers. Yeah,
stingrays without their stingers. And I want to say they might have had, I don't know, at some point, I could be wrong, some smaller sharks in there, just babies.
Absolutely. Well, they've got different sharks that are not like human. They're not threatening humans per se. They've got what would be one of them? I want to say leopard shark.
Okay,
one of those. Which are kind of more like bottom feeders. Like they get stuff out of like the sand. That kind of attack humans.
But like those types of sharks would be in that pool, and this was when I was a kid, and I just remember going to put my hand in, and it was just kind of like, shit.
Yeah,
I was kind of fucking nervous.
Those sharks. Yeah. I think they've got one of the zoo still too, because every year at the Minnesota Zoo they have the Jack-o'-lantern spectacular. And
that'll be coming up.
It's going on right now.
Is it?
And they still have the like the aquarium you can still go into when you're around there, which is kind of cool.
I had no idea.
It does get more expensive every single year, though. So Meg and I are going this year because it's just going to keep going up.
So the Jack-o'-lantern spectacular?
I still want to go a little bit. We'll see if I can convince her, but
let's go.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. I went to one similar. I don't know if I went to the Minnesota one, but I think out in Boston, perhaps. It's pretty.
Boston is not in Minnesota.
Yeah,
so it wouldn't have been the Minnesota one.
It was really impressive though. Like to do that carving, like Michaela and I did one last October, and we're going to do another one here in about a week or so after the race, and just kind of see who can carve out the best pumpkin. But for the delicate little details that they do on those pumpkins is very, very impressive. Similar to like wood carving or those types of things. I would imagine is very similar.
It's wild. Those people are true genuine artists. Like it's amazing to see. I mean, they always have these really cool themes as well. Like one year it was like A to Z, and so it's like A for this or B for that. They've got like smaller themed ones as well, where it's like they've got like, okay, well, this is going to be our like dinosaur, like Jurassic one. And even apart from that, I mean, and you see that these are like lifelike photos. I mean, I can throw some of my photos up in the YouTube thing. God, I'm so fucking old. I can throw some of my photos up in this YouTube.
You're gonna get it on the interwebs
right here. Yeah, so I'm pointing with my finger right there. I'll throw some of my own photos up there. That way, there's no copyright infringement. And then you can see kind of what they do. But yeah, they do a bunch of really, really cool stuff. It's amazing. And even just the normal ones are like, this is far more artistic talent than I've got.
Oh yeah.
So like I like pumpkin stuff. Halloween stuff is so fun for me. It's my favorite holiday.
Ooh, favorite, like top.
Number one. The thing is, I just like I think as a kid, like the fall season is so fun. It's like interesting, like transition from like the summer to the fall, and I was able to see so many people. I'm gonna turn my phone upside down so I'm not looking at Slack messages. But like having that kind of like, okay, well, now you're back to school, but then in September and then like fall, you've got all these the crisp leaves, right?
Yeah.
The change of the air, it smells more fresh.
Yes.
You've got things slowing down a bit
Mm-hmm.
right? You have the craziness of summer kind of slowing back down to the fall. You've got people doing like the pumpkin stuff. You've got like the apple orchards. Like those are a big thing now. You've got, oh man, like the scary movies, like the
Mm-hmm.
Halloween decorations. Those are going up. Like it just felt to me like this like really like calming true time, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it just brings together all of my favorite things. Just like how you said, it's also like we got peak football going right now. It's early in the
Hell
season. Like
yeah.
our Minnesota Vikings, baby, are fucking 5-0 right
5-0.
now.
And also let's not forget the Lynx game one
Lynx,
game.
they just had
Game one, baby.
tied for the largest comeback in WNBA playoff history,
Oh,
or
in playoff history.
playoff history.
Down 18 at one point
Yeah.
to the New York Liberté.
Mm-hmm.
Came back to win the game in OT.
In OT. Yep.
Overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, shout Lynx.
Yeah, that was really cool. I saw they had a shot to win right at the tail end. She drove through the lane and then just missed the layup at the end. But I mean, so like that was cool. You got that going on. The peak like football, not only just time in my, it's just a
Man,
fun
backyard football, man.
in the fall.
Yeah.
In the fall, you hear like you were talking like the Christmas of the leaves and the smells, everything that's going on. I mean, yeah, you get to watch and cuddle into some spooky movies. You knew Halloween was coming, so you were going to get loaded up on all the candy.
So much fucking candy.
You get to dress up. I mean, and run around. It's always fun, and even just how it transitions from as a kid. You know, you're looking forward to watching like Hocus Pocus with the family. To then like now, I don't know. You get to like we went to a Halloween house party last year, and it was just really fun. They had so many cool games to play. It wasn't like just a big drinking fest. And it was just it just keeps evolving and just continues to be by far and away my favorite time of year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's the best time of year, man. And I love Christmas too. I love that time of year. And
this next like 3 months is the shit.
Yeah.
October, November, December. Mm-hmm.
I tell anybody who's new to Minnesota, I'm like, we love winter up until about January 2nd. It's like once the holidays are over and all you're looking at is like, oh, we got Valentine's Day in 2 months. It's like, no, let's just skip past it all. Like, I could miss that rest of that shit. Like, there's something magical about the springtime when it kind of everything's thawing and kind of coming in, but really fall is the best, I think. I mean, there's a reason why it's kind of like taken off in the last 5 years in terms of just popularity, I feel like, in social media circles and this kind of like influencer circles. Seems like, my Instagram is filled with, I mean, and this is just because my Instagram is stalking me at every turn.
Every time.
And they're listening to us at all times.
Yep. They want to give you like that little notification, just get you on that like a little.
Yeah, it's all like
little hit here.
Top 5 things to do on the North Shore in October.
God,
and I'm
man. To be honest, though, some of them are kind of nice to have. I'll save a post every now and again because I'm like, that's a really good idea. Perfect fall dates or something. You're like, oh fuck yeah.
Well, the thing is, too, my family is Canadian. So my dad's family is Canadian, so I love maple things. And this time of year is like maple and pumpkin. It's like everything is fucking maple and pumpkin. I'm like, yo, let's go.
Maple and pumpkin pancakes, cookies. Oh god,
maple sea salt latte.
Yeah. Oh, coffee. There's another big thing right there. How we miss that? Yep.
My Meg and I went to Trader Joe's the other day, as we often do. Yeah.
One of the best places in the world, to be honest. I love Trader Joe's.
So, like, you might have seen this on the IGs. That's what the kids call Instagram. I don't know. Oh, God, I'm so old and I just don't care. But there's a thing where it's like you do kind of like a rock, paper, scissors for appetizer, main course, and like dessert or whatever for like couples. Like, oh, we're going to do rock, paper, scissors, and whoever wins gets to choose.
Oh, you're saying like that's your and Megan's thing? That's how you decide? Oh, okay.
Well, it's on like it's an idea we got from social media.
Gotcha,
we didn't,
gotcha.
But we've done it a couple times. And the last time we did it, we got like I chose maple ice cream, like maple syrup, like maple ice cream from Trader Joe's. And like Meg, I've literally found out doesn't like maple syrup, like flavor or anything. So she's like, yeah, I don't really like this very much. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll eat it. Of ice cream. But yeah, so no, I love maple flavored things. Maple syrup is delicious. Like the true stuff too, like not just the sugary. I mean, true maple syrup is very sugary, but like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And I would love to learn
all natural.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to learn how to tap like trees. So like, I think at some point I'd love to do that. It'd be fun. I know a guy who, shout out Tim Clemens, who runs Ironwood Foraging. I believe that's the title of his company. He's on Instagram as MN Forager or MN Foraging.
Yeah, you've spoken about him before.
Ironwood Foraging. Yeah, he's really cool. Abby and I went to one of his
Yeah.
foraging classes.
Maybe like a year or two ago.
Yeah, really good dude. Played rugby with him growing up. Went to high school. He went to a rival high school of ours, Washburn, but in Minneapolis. But he's really good guy. Really really in depth with that. I mean, he's so knowledgeable. And but like it's something he does and this cool shit. Like I would love to learn how to do that at some point. Like not like nothing that would do it all the time, but
like in what aspect? Like what is that he? Are you talking about like he knows a lot about fucking tapping like syrup to get out of trees, or like
you remember Doug from Orange Theory, right?
Yeah, Mohawk Doug.
Oh yeah, Doug Broad.
Yeah.
Anyways, go follow Coach Doug Broad Orange on Instagram. He's a good guy.
Good dude.
Doug, yeah, he just coaches 4,000th class actually.
Damn, that's cool.
Fun fact: I can't say the word 4,000th. I have to slow it down a lot.
Do you?
Yeah,
I don't even want to try it now because I feel like I'd fuck it up.
Lisp and just 4,000th. That's all. Anyway, so yeah, he actually made some maple syrup from a tree that he had, I think, believe in his backyard too. So yeah, it's a cool thing people can do. Make maple whatever. So that's my rant. 3-minute rant about maple.
Well, like you find like those little things that you just kind of get into a little bit more as I get older. Like that would be, I don't know if I would ever have any, I don't know, desire to go maple syrup hunting. It would be a fun, maybe just like fall activity
maple
for
syrup,
a date.
No.
Like,
maple syrup hunting is what you just said.
Yeah, what?
No. But I like
tapping.
that.
I don't know. What do you
No, fuck that shit. We're hunting this. Get your bow, Kory.
Well, like we're trying to do like grow this tree, or at least I'm trying to figure out how to grow this tree and then manicure it into a bonsai. And that's just been like a fun experiment to try to like mess around with a little bit. So slowly becoming I don't know, father of the plants.
You're becoming a plant daddy.
Plant daddy. I guess.
you're becoming, but the thing is though, is talk about how that feels for your mental health, or kind of like your mood when you're doing those things.
That's interesting. I guess I haven't really thought about that. I know it's going to be like a very soothing, meditative kind of process. It's just cool to like see something that you helped create in a way. Like you had to plant the seed in the dirt, and then you had to get a little bit of water, and then you had to continuously do that on a day by day basis, or make sure it's got its sunlight. It's like similar to, I don't know, raising Stevie. But I do like the aspect of seeing that continued effort kind of pay off in the long run. Like, it's starting to grow a little bit more. And it's something that I've come to like, oddly enough, look forward to at the end of a day. I'm like, oh yeah, I get to go see how Oscar's doing. And then plant who must not be named. Yeah, we named him. So we got 3 right now. Oscar, who's our little tree. I'm thinking it's like a juniper or something. I'm looking on Bonsai Empire, which is a site they told me to find at Bachman's. To
shout out Bonsai Empire.
Bonsai Empire.
Wait, hold on. Fucking love the air horn.
It's so good. So I've been trying to use that, and then I stopped into Bachman's like 3 times in the last week to figure out how to continue this growth. Another plant, which we believe was like a poppy, we named that plant who must not be named. And then our third one that we just picked up, we watched Halloween that night, so we named it Jamie Lee.
Oh wow, Jamie
Lee.
Sounds like a porn name. Not gonna
lie. Well, I didn't think about it in that way.
Well, sorry about that.
Yeah, so it's been kind of fun. But yeah, otherwise, either that maple syrup hunting would probably be up there too, in terms of fun experiences.
So you've got Oscar. You've got Jamie Lee. And you said, what was it?
Plant who must not be named.
So that's like a Voldemort reference.
Pretty much, yeah.
You can't say that name.
To be honest, I don't even think it was necessarily intended to be a Harry Potter or Voldemort reference. It's just that we had started to grow it, and then we never got around to like, oh, hey, we're going to name this thing. And then it just kind of culminated and it says, yeah, plant who must not be named.
Sure. So you've seen our 3 plants. We actually have a couple. We have 4, I believe. But
do you?
We'll have a snake plant from Meg. Meg has had this snake plant for like 4 years.
Okay.
So there's 2 plants my brother got me.
Nice.
Got us. Sorry. Shout out Remy. I don't know what they are.
Oh.
Not gonna lie. He probably told me at some point and I forgot because I have the attention span of a fucking chimp.
Of a goldfish.
I'm pretty sure.
Smart, dude.
That's true.
Chimp crazy. Watch it, people, if you haven't seen it yet. Fucking amazing. You thought Tiger King was nuts? No.
I'm pretty sure I have ADHD in some level of capacity because I just don't remember when people say things to me.
I feel like we all do.
That's a good point. Probably social media helps.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. So we got two plants my brother brought us for our like kind of like homecoming.
Okay.
Right. They're still alive.
Hey, we're doing something right.
Thanks, Remy. And Tevin got us another plant as well. Who again I don't know the name of what it is. I have no idea what these plants are. I just know I need to water them like once a week and we're good.
Oh.
But we named them. One of them is named, so the twins, the two plants my brother got me, are Jeremiah and Jeriason.
Ooh, okay. If there's a reference in there, I do not know it.
I don't think there's any reference. One thing you have to know about my girlfriend Meg is that she is
likes alliteration,
best namer of anything. Like she just loves to name shit. Like it's one of her small little quirks that I like. I'm getting emotional because I love it about her. But like one of her small little things I really love about her, she like just loves to name like creatures or like objects or whatever. So we've got Jeriason, Jeremiah, and we've got the middle one that Tevin got us, is Sparky Plugson. Yeah, I don't think there's any reference.
Sparky Plugson.
What she named them. So we've got those.
Wait, so that's 3, but you said you had 4.
Well, the snake plant, I don't know if she's named, but she's had that for like the last 4 years. She had that when she moved into or I think she got that when she moved into her old apartment.
So that's kind of like plant who must not be named.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could ask her. She might have named it.
Yeah,
she's probably listening to us having this conversation right now. But
moron, it's Snakey.
It's Snake Johnson. Damn it. That sounds about right.
Snake Johnson.
Well, it's so funny. Okay, so I'm gonna go off on a tangent here, but that's kind of what we've been doing for about 30 minutes now. So, Dungeons and Dragons. What do you know about Dungeons and Dragons?
Not a lot. I honestly, like, the first initial reaction is I remember hearing about it when I was in middle school or high school. Dungeons and Dragons, like, that's a real nerdy game.
Oh, it's hell nerdy.
Super nerdy.
That's exactly why I've been playing it for the last 4 years.
That's honestly about it. And then I know it's not even like a online game. It's like one that you had to meet up, I think, and then there was like a big board, and then after that, anybody's guess. You kind of make the game your own. I don't know. There's not even, people will be like, well, I don't know. It depends on how you play.
It's a tabletop role-playing game.
That was my next guess.
So basically, it is kind of like adult kids can play it too, but like
adult make-believe?
Make-believe. Yeah. Basically what it is let's say like, it's a collaborative storytelling event. So the dungeon
really
master
jazzing this up.
I see if you're watching the YouTube video, you can see my fingers right now as I'm doing this. So the dungeon master or the game master, depending on because there's a lot of tabletop role-playing games. It's not just Dungeons and Dragons. I think D&D is just the most popular one. Right. But like, so imagine like, so there's rules to the game. There's obviously like, a bunch of different facets to the game. Right. But effectively you've got the dungeon master who's basically has a story in mind. Like my idea for a story is like, okay, well, the characters are on this like journey to the coast and they have to fight through this or something like that.
Is this like an example? Like if you were
an example, yeah.
Okay, that's how they would say it. Or they don't have to like go to this like huge J.R.R. Tolkien like world building. Well, so we are on the beaches of Moria.
No, seriously. Moria was dude. Moria's mine. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? God, fuck. Where are my glasses? I can't do that thing. But so like, yeah. So actually, let's use Lord of the Rings. Let's use Lord of the Rings because this is something that you're going to actually understand because you've seen Lord of the Rings. So like,
oh, how excited you are!
Shut the fuck up.
I just see the light up behind your eyes.
I love this shit. I'm such a nerd. So like, okay, so let's say Lord of the Rings. Like a big moment in Lord of the Rings is like, okay, the Hobbit's leaving the Shire.
Okay,
you could make that like an adventure. Like, okay, like let's say like I'm the dungeon master and like, okay, my idea is I've got 4 characters that like have been living in this place for a long time, but like they need to go and visit like they need to go and bring the ring to this whatever. Like that's like a D&D adventure, like right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any plot, any story that you're telling, that's a D&D adventure, right?
Okay.
But then the characters are also involved. So like, let's say I'm the DM and I'm telling the story of the Lord of the Rings, but you're Frodo. Like
Okay.
your character is Frodo.
Mm.
So depending on what's going on, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Let's say Frodo, like let's say you as Frodo were like, I'm actually going to keep the ring. Like you could do that, right? But then it's up to me and up to the rest of the group to like figure out, okay, well, what do we do now?
What if I say I don't want to go on the adventure? Like, and I want to stay in the Shire.
Well, you could do that, but then it's up. Then
But
I'm
then-
like, well, okay, well then the things are ring race are going to come after you now. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you're just gonna like throw something,
Yeah.
all right, and then see how. Okay.
So
Okay.
the DM is leading the story, but you as a character can kind of make
You
it.
still have like your own autonomy.
Yeah.
to-
Like there are times where it's like let's say like the DM has something planned, but like the characters do the opposite of what the DM is expecting. Well, then it's like, well, okay, well, I got to kind of adapt, right? So there's lots of different facets to it. The original point of this 4 minutes ago was because we're talking about names, and like a lot of the times in like a D&D adventure, the person who's running the story has to play like a bunch of different characters. Because let's say you get to what was the first town? Bree? Yeah, Bree. Right. So let's say you're like you get to Bree. There's a bunch of characters to interact with. So me as a DM, I have to play a bunch of different characters. So I have to come up with a bunch of different names. And the guy that DMs for us, Aaron, I mentioned him before, he just like hates coming up with names. He's like, you're talking to Tim or like Tom, you know, like he just hates that shit. So we've got a big like notepad, like shared note on our phones. This has a bunch of like
different names you can use. No
characters.
shit.
Yeah, and I've contributed about 85% of
them. So this is like a fun project for you.
Yeah.
Also,
I love naming shit.
How'd you even like that's see, it's like naming a plant is one thing. Naming a dog was different for me. Like you can kind of, I don't know, name a plant, whatever, like name a cute little figurine, name your car. But then also like when it comes to like naming your dog, like
have you named your car? You drive a
No.
Mini Cooper.
Yeah, I do. But no, never have named it. I've never gotten into naming cars.
Really?
No.
Have you ever named a car?
No. Never.
Awkward
Have
sound
you?
of my glass hitting my thing, my mic stand, my boom arm. Yeah, no, I have. I've named many cars. Okay, my first car was a red 93 Geo Prism. Pretty sure my parents got it for me for Christmas for like $300.
Sounds about right.
And
that was your first?
I named it the Outlaw Star. So if you are not familiar with late 90s sci-fi anime, which I don't know how you,
wow.
I don't know.
You not be.
I don't know how you couldn't be.
Fucking missed out.
So the one that's mentioned a lot is Cowboy Bebop. Have you heard that name?
Yeah, but I don't know what it is.
So it was remade as it was made as a Netflix live action show a couple of years ago, and it kind of sucked.
Flopped. Okay.
Well, I actually never watched it, but that's why I can't say anything. But you know, it's really tough to do the same adaptations because there's tropes that happen in anime that are different than Western audiences see in live TV show. Anyway, so that was the main one, but the one that I'm talking about is Outlaw Star. It's kind of like lesser known, but it was this big red spaceship essentially, and that was the name of the show, and it was the name of the spaceship called the Outlaw Star.
Okay.
And so when I got the car, I was like, it's the Outlaw Star. I was also 16, so you know.
Rad.
So and then I named another one Soul. God, that's the most menacing I've ever seen in my life. Anyways,
I thought that was the name of the car. Soul.
No, Soul.
Soul.
And then we had another one that I named the Snowflake. I think that was Alec Demjen that named that. My buddy Alec named that Snowflake because it was a white Toyota Camry.
Oh God, I feel like almost everybody had a Toyota Camry.
Oh hell yeah!
Solid 200,000 miles and ran like a dime.
I had a Hyundai Elantra that I named Rodney after the friend from Get Out.
Oh,
yeah.
Also a good movie. That's a good Halloween movie right there too.
The guy, the cop, or he was airport security guard or something like that, like airplane TSA. I think he was the friend that kind of like saves him at the end. That was Rodney, so I named my car Rodney.
Okay. Get Out, is that the same movie where it was that classic gif? The dude is just like running in a straight fucking line and dips. Okay.
Yeah, that was Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya his like a big breakout role for Western audiences, at least because he's a British actor. But
gotcha.
And then my current one is the Outlaw Star version or 2.0, Outlaw Star 2. Because it's also
bring it back.
A red car. I had to bring it back. Well, the thing was that the original Outlaw Star was a 93 Geo Prism. I drive a 2018 Mitsubishi. So like to me, my Hyundai was 2005. So when I got behind the wheel of that 2018 and like turned it on, I was like, this is a fucking spaceship. And so that's why I thought of the Outlaw Star again. Because it was like there's all these buttons and things like that. I had no idea what they did. Because I've been driving a car from 2005. I literally 13 years I have not driven a new vehicle. And then like there's in the dash over the steering wheel, there's a screen that comes up that reflects the speedometer.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And I'm like, what is this? But I swear to God, I remember the first.
You're like, why is it necessary?
Yeah, I was like,
like
cool though,
right there.
But I got in the car for the first time, and I remember thinking, how do I turn it on? I was like, I don't. And it was summertime when I got it, and I got in the car. I was like, so hot. And I was like, how do I turn I was like, no, anything. Like, so anyways, it was a spaceship to me, and that was why I named the Outlaw Star version 2.0.
I like the 2.0. Have you ridden in a Tesla?
No.
Never
no,
bet. Have you?
No, I'm not.
Just sat in one.
Fuck Elon Musk. So no, I haven't. Have you? It sounds like you have.
Sat in one. Never rode it or driven in it, but it was at one of Michaela's family got together, and so we went over, had some like good burgers, and it was just a really fun time. And I want to say it was one of her uncles came with a Cybertruck, and that pulled up. I was like, what the fuck is this thing?
Can we just be honest for a second? It's the ugliest motherfucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, taste preferences.
No,
I've seen some that have got aftermarket rims, tires, and then it's got a different like paint job done to it. It's got like a different wrap to it, and it looks fairly cool. It's still not my favorite, but
if you say
it's kind of like a big toaster. Yeah, I don't know. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not. It's kind of grown on me. When I first saw him, I'm like, it's a little much.
I feel like the only thing worse was when the Honda Elements first came out.
What's that?
Basically a square box on wheels.
Is that the one that looks like a toaster? There's one that like straight up looks like a toaster.
Let's see if I can find it.
It might be this one.
I'll show you.
But yeah, that Cybertruck pulled up, and so obviously everyone is walking out of the house to go check this thing out because it's essentially the closest thing we probably have to, I don't know, your average person's ability. I shouldn't even say average. I mean, because those things cost a fucking fortune. But closest thing we'll get to riding in a spaceship, and sitting in it was a unique experience. The eye line that you could see like through the front and side mirrors and looking through the back, it was all just very boxy. Okay, I've seen that before. That's not the toaster one that I'm thinking of.
Oh, sorry.
Here you go. But yeah, that does look like a toaster. There's other ones that look like it's straight out of like a Dr. Seuss book.
Is it the Cube? Is it like a Nissan?
It might be. Yeah.
Nissan.
Oh, there's some very interesting cars out there. I'm still more partial to muscle cars though than anything else. They just look the coolest. You get some exotics like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. When you see those pull up every now and again, you're like, God, that thing's gnarly. Still, that's closer to what I'm thinking of.
The Nissan Cube is what we're looking at.
Okay, maybe that's it. Yeah, it's essentially that. Yeah, Nissan Cube. Yeah. And it looks like a sugar cube.
I can't even be mad because they just said it's straight up a cube. Like they just outright on the name.
No, yeah. No, fair on them. But yeah, no, it's interesting to see kind of like the designs, like I think again, like muscle cars in like the 70s and like 80s are rad. I think those look so cool. You get some of the older like late models as well, and then now you put that up next to a Cybertruck. I'm like, what in the world are these things? But you put a Nissan Cube in there. I'm like, I would never want to drive that.
I think if we're talking like old cars, it's gotta be like a old Ford Mustang.
Yeah,
like a nice Thunderbird, something like the Pontiac Thunderbird.
This is probably coming from like not necessarily two car guys either. Like I don't call my
car guy.
No,
Kory?
Yeah, show you where the blinker fluid goes. I can appreciate cars.
There's gonna be someone on this podcast listening to this who's a car person, and they're gonna be like so mad right now, like banging their head against the wall.
Fucking
I just
morons.
said Pontiac Thunderbird. I like those ones back in the day. That was very much like, oh god, what? So
Are you thinking of the not Starsky and Hutch shit? I'm thinking of other iconic. What's the Firebird? There's the
well, Pontiac
Eastbound and
Firebird.
Down.
Was the Firebird not a Thunderbird? Is it not a Thunderbird? Is it a Firebird?
Well, there's both. There is a Thunderbird and there's a Firebird.
I
believe there's both. There's got to be both.
Murph, is that Murph?
It's not Starsky and Hutch. What the fuck is the one? It's with Burt Reynolds.
Murph? Come on in, buddy.
Oh my god, Smokey and the Bandit. Thank God, that was gonna bug me.
Hi, Murphy.
Smokey and the Bandit. That's a class. That would be a classic card. Now that I think is a
Murph is a big fire.
That's
Firebird guy.
Gosh, I know that's a. What is that? Smokey and the Bandit.
So what is the Doobie Brothers or something? No, not the Doobie Brothers.
Well, that's a good band.
That is a China Grove. Oh,
Yeah.
What was it? What is it?
The Doobie Brothers got quite a good collection of rock songs. It's one of those bands that if you play it, you're like, oh man, who are these guys? I've definitely heard these before.
It's like the Daisy Dukes were popular. She made Daisy Dukes popular. It was the not Starsky and Hutch. That was what you just said. It was
Daisy Dukes popular. I'm just thinking of Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard.
That's
what I was thinking about.
Okay. Dukes of Hazzard.
What was the car they drove in Dukes of Hazzard?
Dukes of Hazzard. What I was thinking, like an old Dodge Challenger, Charger. The one in the Smokey and the Bandit was a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am.
That's what it was. What was the car that Billy Madison drove to his first day at high school in the movie Billy Madison?
When I'm trying to think of that
because I think that was a Firebird.
Well, because the General Lee, the one that you were talking about within Dukes of Hazzard, that was a '69 Dodge Charger.
Okay.
The Billy Madison reference, though, I don't know.
I watched the movie a lot as a child. Billy Madison.
There was a Nissan Skyline. I know that was Fast and the Furious. And then Dominic Toretto, he also had a Charger. I'm just thinking about the all-time like kind of iconic movies. Keanu Reeves.
It was a Pontiac motherfucking Firebird.
In what?
In Billy Madison.
I don't know. I don't remember that movie well enough to know which one. I think I do know.
I
do know now.
His first day of high school, he rolls up in a Pontiac Firebird and just kind of like sits outside and like leans against it, and he like thinks he's really cool, and all the kids are kind of like, "Oh, that's pretty lame, dude."
Nah, but if you had a fucking cool car back in the day, and you got a cool car now, you still kind of want to fly. I don't knock anybody if they're like going through a tunnel and they get on it a little bit. I'm like, I like it.
What do you feel? How do you feel about your Mini Cooper?
I think it's fun as shit. I think, to be honest, I think I get a lot of unique, interesting looks when people see me get out of the car. I think a lot of people anticipate that I would have some sort of like Jeep or some big ass truck. And then all of a sudden they see me go walking over to the red Mini Cooper and they're like, what?
Do you want a Jeep? Be honest.
I think they'd be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, but like I think they'd be fun now. I was thinking about getting one when I first got the Mini Cooper, but I'm sitting there at the time and I'm like, okay, I'm a single guy. I got nothing to haul. You know, I'm not really what the likelihood that I take this thing to do what it's intended or capable of doing. Like if you get a sick ass Jeep Rubicon, you have it decked out, lifted, new aftermarket tires and suspension and all this stuff, and yet it's a pavement princess. And by pavement princess, I mean it's just literally you only keep it on the road and on a 70 and sunny degree day.
Where did you hear this term pavement princess?
No idea. Probably
like this is something from Winona.
It might be, probably. Oh yeah, very much so. But I'm like, I don't want to use it for that. And then what's the likelihood that, again, I'm going to the one time take it out on the trails? And I get if you got a really nice vehicle and you like it all souped up. I also respect that. My dad and my brother have a couple trucks like that. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You don't want to get it dirty. You want to take it out on a trail. I probably would, but I just wouldn't necessarily have the time or the inclination to. So I was like, all right, Mini Cooper, kind of fun, rips around. I can park it anywhere, which is so nice. I mean, in the city, I'm like, yep, I can fit there. Oof, easy. You get a truck or something like that big, and then, you know, it's just like, it just becomes a hassle. You get all the twists and turns throughout the city.
You don't need a truck in the city either.
Exactly. You know, that'd be later.
Have that is for ego.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know.
Like if I was to get that now, that would exactly be what it's for. Like I don't have any, you know, it would come in handy the times that you have to like move shit for
Yeah,
sure.
if you work construction, you work landscaping, like you work like very specific jobs.
Then
Yes,
absolutely, then it's necessary. But if you're just, or now just meant like if you all of a sudden like you're moving like a furniture, like oh that would have been the one time like having the truck would have really come in handy. But even then, it's just like get a rental truck and it's just as easy. You don't have to worry about using up your own stuff. But yeah, that's usually what I think people assume that I would drive would be a Jeep or a truck.
Mm.
Mini Coopers, I think, very low on the list of what.
Funny, I haven't seen very many Mini Coopers these days.
No.
I don't think I remember the last time I've seen one, but maybe that's just because you have that bias where it's like when you're thinking of something, then all of a sudden you see it everywhere.
True.
Maybe I'm just not thinking. Like maybe I'm just not
yeah.
seeing it. Because I feel like
I feel like I see it like a lot.
that makes sense because you drive one. Exactly. I feel like I see a lot of Mitsubishis.
See, and I would not. I don't see shit. The one time I see your car, I'm like, I think that's the first time I've ever seen a car like that. It is funny though, like your perception of like what you seek or what is more just like in your normal day to day. How much more regularly that you see that, because I see Mini Coopers all the time.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
They are pretty rad though, especially when you saw them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Average Bros Gym podcast, where your hosts with the really similar names, Kory and Croy, sit down and walk you through fitness, health, and life advice, which seeks to meet you where you're at. No polarizing black and white takes, just general advice and good conversation.
That is by far and away a new record.
That is the longest cold open we've ever had. Get ready for another hour of content. Let's fucking go.
Dude, and you nailed that one too. That was a clean fucking run.
No, that's because I'm one beer deep.
Oh, that's fair. Dude, it was funny. I've been shooting these. It's been such an awesome experience. I've been working with Stimulus Athletic and Jason, and doing some
Name drop
creation. Yeah, and been phenomenal to work with. But we've been Jason had approached me to be kind of the vocal like face for some of the I guess, yeah, what would you call it? Just a commercial, or like you see an Instagram bit pop up and it's like supporting that, individual brand. But it's been interesting trying to like, okay, I got to remember this line. I have to walk here, show the jersey. I don't know if you've seen any of these. I'll have to show you a couple, but it's just interesting because being in a different dynamic. I mean, from like coaching side of things and how we've talked before, we're very comfortable talking in front of people. But when you have to kind of do a presentation almost in that way in front of a camera, it's a little bit different. Like, when was the last time that you shot something for and different than just like a little Instagram thing for yourself? I mean, like this would be like if Orange Theory came up like, hey, Kory, we're going to use you on our, campaign for the next Hell Week, and be you on the whatever projector.
Well, I do stuff for the St. Louis Park Instagram, and a lot of that is just off the cuff one take.
Yeah,
like I work better with bullet points.
Yep.
But apart from that, no. I mean, like when I worked for Lifetime, they had us do like a GTX commercial, but I don't think they used any of my footage. So I was a little pissed about that.
Bastards.
Yeah, fuck Lifetime.
For like, I practiced for weeks.
Bullshit. Anyways.
I'm surprised they almost wouldn't use your stuff, because I feel like you would have just come across like so just natural and comfortable on a camera.
Dude, how these places are. They want fucking the same looking motherfuckers. Like, this is why studios, I don't know, I'm not gonna name any names, but like you're gonna look at like certain fitness boutiques, ones that are like, really, really popular on social media. You're gonna look at their coaches, they're gonna look the fucking same.
Like,
they're gonna look at their staff, they're gonna look the same.
I'm just messing.
It's always like skinny ass, like average height blonde girls, or like maybe like, dark hair girls. There's always like, we have to have diversity, so we're gonna have like a tall, light skinned black guy. Like,
there you go. Yes,
they all do it the same way. And it's not representative of people that actually exercise there or other places. It's all bullshit.
Just flawless. Hate it. They all look so good. Like,
sorry. Yeah, and they're all models. And it's like, that's going to be the case. And it's like, whether there's any substance to it, I don't know. Like, just because you look a certain way doesn't mean that you aren't a genuine trainer or a genuine coach, whatever. Like, you can still be conventionally attractive to a national audience and still be very good at what you do. Like, that doesn't, I'm not going to say that, but it's just, I mean, like a lot of those places just take people that look a certain way and they're going to give them the results, or they're going to give them the job over someone who's more qualified that doesn't look that way. And like, I'm a short, hairy, bald guy. So I got a ton of tattoos, and it is what it is.
Hey, let's go. Right.
But it's
short, hairy, bald guy.
And I'd rather be part of an organization that that is more representative of the actual culture that's exercising in it
Yeah.
than of be there to look good and be there for less substance.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
And I feel like that's like a perception, or it's also unfortunate too, because I feel like that's what a lot of times people who are new to exercise, they're afraid to go into some of those gym environments because they think everybody in there is going to look like what I saw on that commercial and look like what I see on their Instagram page, because they're not necessarily portraying the, as you said, like average Joe and Jane that you would see like walking on the street, and they're petrified of like going in like, fuck, I'm just gonna get, you know.
I will say like shout out like Orange Theory, of course I work for Orange Theory, but shout out like Barry's too. Like a lot of their coaches in Minneapolis are like very diverse, like racially, ethnically, like as far as like sexual orientation as well. Like there's a lot of diversity in Barry's Minneapolis. Like shout out them.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Orange Theory. Like
the same
for
thing
that.
for Powerhouse. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think there's a lot of places that don't get it right. You know what I mean?
Well, Abby used to work at what Solcana.
Yeah, yeah, which is definitely a very inclusive space. So.
Yes,
and then like obviously like you have to take the best person for the job. Like I'm not saying like okay if this person is the best person for the job, take him regardless, right? Like if they're going to be this big face of the area, and like you want it to, depends on what your goal is, I guess, as a business. But
yeah,
anyways, but yeah, no, it's definitely. I also think like there's this big idea in the fitness industry that like trainers who look a certain way just get more clients or like get more like interest because they if they look like that, like if they can do that for themselves, obviously like that means they're qualified. No, it fucking doesn't. Like some people just are genetically lower body fat percentage, genetically have bigger pecs or bigger shoulders, or like their legs are fucking like tree trunks, right? Like just because someone looks at certain, like I said, okay, if you're gonna take anything away from this podcast, let's take it away at 56:32. Is in this, I'm saying it right now. But like, just because someone looks like they're in great shape does not mean they're a qualified trainer for you and your goals.
Agreed.
And I think that's a common misconception that we see in the gym. Now, I'm not saying that someone who like, doesn't look like they could lift a fly is a better trainer, right? Like you have to have, there is some sort of personal accountability where it's like you do want to be trained by someone who has lived that experience, who like has lived that.
Yep.
But like, look at their substance, look at their content, look at how they talk to others, look at how they interact before you make a choice. Like if you're looking for like a trainer to follow or a coach to sign up with, look at their content, look at the substance before you click that fucking pay button. Because there's a lot of garbage people out there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how would you? Okay, so in that stance, how would you recommend somebody who's just trying to like cipher through the person? Like right now, they can't, determine, do I need to go to this gym? Do I need to go to that gym? Do I follow this person online? Do I follow that person online? Like, what would be the things that you would want to have a person identify or look out for? Like, what would be kind of some of those, like, hey, really good, like green flag things that you see on their profile or on their bio or wherever it is that you're seeing them come across? And what would be some of maybe the more like red flags, like maybe look out for that? I don't know, if and just off the top of your head, like,
first things first, you have to identify as as an individual what your goals are. Because like if my goal is to become a competitive powerlifter, I'm not going to be following a marathon runner. Right? Like as first and foremost, it just you can for fun, but like that's not the training is completely different, right? So just like identify your goals, what are you looking at accomplishing, and look for people who are in that field, right? Secondly, I think when you're looking for people, beware of absolutes. If someone is online making reels about like things you can never do or shouldn't do, or like be careful of this or warning about that, I think that language, the type of rhetoric, is always a little bit concerning. As we try to do here in this podcast, it is never black and white. It is usually shades of gray, right? It's like, fitness coaches, like trainers, you can get in shape while still eating McDonald's. You can do that if you want to. There's ways to do it. So someone, or like someone's saying like never eat fruit or like don't eat carbs, like that, shut the fuck up, right? Like be aware of just those absolute statements. If I want to be really nerdy right now, which I usually do,
Mhm.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes,
Mm.
right? So it's like there's never just don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that. Look at also what people are promoting for products. If they're sponsored by certain products, if they're saying if you do this, then this. That's also something to worry about as far as language goes. If you use this product, then you're going to be doing this. There's lots of different supplements that can help your journey, but you want to be looking at different sources for those supplements, not just one person's account that's sponsored by First Form or whatever the fuck they're sponsored by, right?
Mhm.
So that's something to look out for as well. So it's just those small things of like, is this person sponsored? By whom? What does their content look like? Are they telling me to never do something? Are they telling me to only do X, Y, and Z? I think that's a big deal. I think for the most part, like positive fitness advice and good fitness advice and generally helpful fitness advice is not sexy.
Mm.
It's move more, sometimes eat less, or eat better of better, like eat more of better things.
Eat better would be a good start.
Eat more of like fruits and vegetables and like lean protein and like, simple carbohydrates. Eat less of like the, 1,000-calorie meals. Eat less of the fast food. Eat less of the restaurant stuff for your wallet as well as your stomach. Move more, sit less. But like, I'm not gonna say never sit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say take a cold plunge every single fucking day. Taking a cold and a lot of things too is also you have to look at like number 3, I guess, is the things that you might think that a certain practice or a certain supplement does one thing and it might work, but it usually by other methods. So like a cold plunge is not going to burn more fat and you're not going to like lose more weight from doing cold plunge every day. But what you might do is reduce inflammation and you might feel better and train more. And that might cause you to then lose more weight because you are burning more calories from training more often. So there's always different ways that the things you think work actually work, right? Like intermittent fasting is a great example of this. There's no magic to intermittent fasting. It's saying if you only have an 8-hour window, you're going to be burning more, like in your testosterone is this and your heart rate is this. No, it's because you have less time to eat, so you're eating less. That's how intermittent fasting works. Because if you have 7 hours to eat food, you're probably going to have fucking 4,000 calories, right? You can.
You can. It
but
can't be
you're
done.
but you're probably not. You're
Yeah.
probably not. And so that's how it works.
Mm.
It's not about a magic formula. It's about moving more, usually eating a little bit less, and like tracking your weights, tracking your food.
It's weird. It's like all the things that people say that they know that they should be doing
Are the things that you should be doing. And so like that's the type of shit that I would tell people like to look for, because it's not the supplement it's not like the shake weight that's gonna make you lose weight. It's not the fat burner. What is fat burner? It's L-carnitine, it's caffeine, it's things to raise your heart rate.
and Ozempic.
One of but that's what fat burners are. They don't actually fucking burn fat. A lot of it is also to, sorry, I'm swearing a lot. A lot of it is also to like it's a placebo effect. So for me, like I like pre-workout because it makes me like I take it and I'm like ready to work out harder.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that is actually the pre-workout? How much of that is just me like taking it, like drinking something and like sipping on something that's like not just coffee or water or whatever, right? I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about that because it's just like I think that people are always looking for a fucking shortcut, and the truth is you have to accept the fact that it's going to take time, because you didn't, like, let's say you want to lose 30 pounds, you didn't gain those 30 pounds over fucking night.
Mm-hmm.
It took years,
Yeah,
of making not all the wrong choices, but like one or two, but just over time. like maybe you were overeating for like a day and then that turned into a week. And then like all of a sudden, like you're paying less attention because I've been there because I know how it feels. Because like I have the same issue with caffeine. There was a long time space of time where I was drinking like 60 milligrams a day. I was doing so well and I was sleeping really better, like a lot better. And then your schedule changes and then I'm opening more. And then I'm like, well, now I'm having 400 milligrams before 12 p.m. All of a sudden, now I'm sleeping less. So it's like, and those decisions happen over a month or two, not one day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like people get to where they are over a long period of time. And this is true for like doctor visits as well. Like Meg and I were just talking about this. People go to doctors and just want like a fucking like cure all. Here's a pill, you're gonna be fine.
Oh God, that's a whole other thing.
And it's like doctors can only do so much. It's like, no, you have to do other things too. Even fucking like, okay, what was I listening to the other day? God, what was it? It was some ad. It was an ad for like an alcohol, like it was basically a drink you take to some sort of enzyme bullshit that was like, if you drink this before you like drink alcohol, like you'll wake up and you won't have a hangover. Right. It was one of those things. But then the project is also saying, okay, but also make sure you drink moderately and drink and like stay hydrated and like sleep. So it's like, okay, well, is it the product or is it the fact that you're also drinking water and also sleeping and also not getting blackout drunk? Right. So it's like, there's so much to it. And it's like people just don't want to believe it and you have to accept it. Like, it's not going to be fucking easy. So like if someone's promising you that if you take this pill or you do this workout routine or you do this, you're going to lose this, it's not the case. You have to fucking actually do the work and you have to look at your entire life, not just the movement, and you have to commit to something. And this is the most like you I'm ever going to sound, Kory, is you got to fucking commit to it. You have to be dedicated. You have to be diligent and you have to stop making excuses.
That it's funny when it really comes down to it. Like you can go so many different directions, and for a lot of people, they might just start with like, "Oh, I want to lose weight." That's going to be like the number one thing you hear all the time. What are your goals? I want to lose weight. And then in terms of what fitness program, you get caught up looking at all the different trees, at one time, and it's just like it's just this overwhelming sense of like I have too many options and I don't know what's the best one. How many times, like what is the length of time you wonder the average person spends just in that decision making period of like, what am I going to do, rather than just like fucking pick something and then stick with it for a long enough period of time. As you said, still comes down to so much of that consistency. Finding a group of people is going to be so huge, I think, in that community that you can go to if you want to do the one-on-one training route because that's your preferred method and you think that person can help you be accountable. Probably look for maybe some credentials after the name and the coursework maybe that they have taken, and how long have they been in the industry. Those would be some like really good positive indicators. Have they been with that company for a while? Just as some things to I think add into that as well, to ultimately get you to where you want to get to.
Yeah. I probably sound a little preachy, and I apologize. I don't mean to sound like that, but it is like, I mean, as someone who's worked in the fitness industry for 10 years, like I've seen so many people come and go. Like I think I've coached over 10,000 people at some point.
Is that nuts to think about?
So over 10,000 people have come into my class at some point, and either like they've continued taking it, like they're still members, or they've taken like one time because they were like visiting from out of town and left or whatever. But like, I just always have that, like people always leave before their goals are finished.
And that's a interesting thought. And I don't mean to ask you or that you have to like answer, but it would be really interesting if you just sat down, with a pen and paper and just kind of like gone back through like the number of people you coached, like who have made dramatic improvements in their overall health, like, what that number would be like. You've coached so many. Obviously, like that ratio is going to be more skewed in one way or the other, but it would just be interesting.
Yeah. Everybody's goals are different too. Like some people legitimately exercise for the mental health benefit and just
that's huge too.
To move,
that's
and they don't give a fuck about their weight or anything like that, and that's totally fine.
That's
like
great.
Seriously, because it's all goal dependent. But I just think that like there's so much of that in the fitness industry of like I want to find the best thing, and like you haven't even started yet.
How about walk?
Yeah,
just do that around the block with your dog.
Best workout for XYZ, and it's like you haven't lifted a weight in 6 months. How about try that shit? Like I remember sorry, I'm getting fired up. But like, I remember like when I was young, man, I just went on bodybuilding.com and looked at the fucking forum where
whatever the free program was that you could just download, put it to your phone. You're like, I'm doing that shit.
100,000%.
Yeah.
And it's easier for me to say that. Obviously, I had an exercise background because I was an athlete growing up. But it's like you have to look at like, okay, cool, like beginner programs, movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg to get in. Like, I think you have to look at like, depends on where you at. You have to just move. You have to move. You have to watch what you're eating a little bit more. Like you can't like, and the thing is people will tend to like sometimes when they're moving more tend to eat more too, and like then that's counterproductive. That you have to know you have to eat the same amount and then still move more. Like you have to, and it's about just committing to it. And I think that's hard to do for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's easy to like program hop. It's easy to like diet hop, and it's like
that's a big one too, where people like program hop and workout hop. They diet hop. They just never stick with one thing. And it's like, oh no, I heard that I was supposed to be doing more cardio, so then they start doing more cardio. Or then I heard I was supposed to be doing more strength training, and then no, I heard that fats are bad or carbs are good or X, Y, and Z. It's like, yo, we just gotta. How about we? And especially when it comes to your program, like, what are the like physiological changes you want your body to or that you want to have your body have? Like, do you want to get stronger? Cool. Then we need to actually train for that. If you want to get better at running, we're going to have to train specifically for that. If you want your body composition, that's the same exact thing. And then if, they just don't stick with it nearly long enough. Oh, I want to lose weight. They track their calories for like 3 days and then they stop. And then they do it again in about 2 to 3 weeks when they're still really unhappy with how the scale looks and it's the weight that stayed the exact same or it's bumped up. And now they're getting even more nervous because Halloween's coming up and Thanksgiving's coming up. And then we're all the way back in the same cycle. And then when they hit fuck it, no, they quit their membership, they come back and it's like, man, how far could you have been had you just stuck with it for the last 12 months than keep just hopping off the train?
And this is something that I'm gonna have a lot of feelings about because as a head coach in my industry, like one of my jobs is client retention.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I hear it all.
Tough calls.
I hear it all in the summertime. It's okay. Well, I'm going to the cabin and we've got happy hours. And we've got the kids have this and that and like you have fucking kids. I get it. Like you gotta like take them to drive them their shit. Like I get that, but at the same time, it's like okay, well in the summer, like we have people still to this day. It's October. They're still counseling because they have no time to attend. It's like you had no time to attend in the summer. When are you gonna have time to attend?
Yeah.
Like, at some point, it's on you.
Like when are you putting it on your calendar? Because you're putting a lot of other stuff on your calendar and you're not prioritizing.
And this is like probably my venting space. Honestly, is like what's going on. But it's like, okay, well, you said that you couldn't do 3-4 times a week, whatever, because the kids had stuff. But it's like now it's the fall. Mm-hmm. And your kids are always going to have shit because I know parents these days and they have their kids in fucking every sport all of the time, which seems ridiculous to me. For God's sakes, do other things. Let them be kids.
Mm.
So
the year-round sport is one that I'm not necessarily a huge proponent of. Like I feel like once you get to maybe if you want to be elite and you want to and you're on that level and you possess it, but it's not at like 7 or 8 years old. Like it's not at 9 or 10. Like you got to wait until you're a little bit more.
Think about how many NFL players are like motherfucker that like. How many NFL players are like, he just started playing football in college, and he was actually
he was a basketball player, and then he just turned over.
Your kid is probably not going to fucking pro. Sorry,
no.
But it's just like I just think like your kids need a break, and also like let's say your kids are always doing something. They're always going to be doing something. Winter, spring, fall, summer doesn't matter, right? Like I played baseball all year round when I was younger. I did fall baseball. I did. Winter like hitting clinics and then I spring and summer, right? Like I know how it feels. Like you're always gonna be busy with something. If you don't make time for it, then you're never gonna see any progress.
I think if you want to set your kid up for like being a super athlete, I shouldn't say super athlete, but if you want to set them up for the best like athletic potential future, like get them in gymnastics as early as possible, set that up, let them do that and just have fun rolling around with it. And then from like, I don't know, 7 to 12, have them play every single sport under the sun that they want to go in and do. And then like once you become like in your later teens, like then you can maybe start like specializing a little bit more. Like, oh, he's, you really started like in baseball. Oh, you really started like in football. Then, you can kind of start to prioritize that a little bit more for sure.
Your kids need a break, and you need to get your ass in the gym.
That too. Yeah.
And you need to move, because if you also like, you want to set a good example for you. Like, I don't know, I feel like kids are probably gonna be more gravitate more towards athletics and exercise if you're doing it.
1000%, because you're the model. They want to be like you. They want to spend time like you. And then when your kid sees you prioritizing your health the way in which that you do, what is it that they're going to want to do? The exact same shit. They're just a reflection of you in so many different ways. Again, coming from somebody that's not a parent, but you hear this all the time. And it's like, why would you not want to prioritize that? Not only for that, but like, then what about like your kids' kids? And like, you want to have the highest quality of life possible. And you keep just every single day burning those 24 hours, the same amount of time that we all have. And year after year, just watch your body slowly fucking decay. And like, that's neglect is what it is. It's fucking
most
neglect.
bleak that this podcast will ever get. But I think there's a message in here. And the message is that there's no magic pill. There's no magic time of year, like, because you're always going to have a reason to not come in. So you just have to fucking do it. You have to do it. Here's the thing: motivation does not just exist. Like, action begets motivation. You have to start doing something, and then you'll get into it. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was in the gym today, and I was looking at everybody. I was like, man, everybody's like here because they want to change themselves. They want to motivate themselves. They want to push themselves. And I was like, this is a beautiful thing. Like, find your reason, but you got to get in the gym. You can't use the kids as an excuse. You can't use the season as an excuse. You got to do it, man. Like, seriously, you have to fucking do it.
Just do it. Nike nailed it with that ad.
Like, you can do shit at home. There's so many thanks to COVID, there's so many online things you can do. There's the YouTube videos, bro. Like, I've done YouTube yoga with Adrian YouTube videos, like 30 of them.
I did yoga with Adrian too.
Hell yeah, do that shit. Anyways, I'm gonna timestamp this rant because
that was so good.
Just so we all know. So if you made it this far, you listen to it, and you support my frustration, man, it just hurts. Honestly, it hurts. Like, I think that's where this always comes from. Is it's like, the Cybertruck is disgusting.
Adding insult to injury.
I think this all comes from just like a hurt of like me being in the industry for a long time, and you as well. And like, how many times have you seen people that cancel, and you're just like, no.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And it just hurts because you're like, you get invested in people's journeys and in people's lives. And then when you can't change it, when you can't help them, like, that's generally painful.
Well, and that's honestly the toughest part, is like, you can see that for them. Like, you see that future version of what they could be inside them. And I think that's why we all want to get into coaching, is like, you're trying to listen and bring out the best in somebody. And when you see that they don't have that belief in themselves, like, I can't instill that will in you, like, to want it as much as I want it for you. Like, that still has to come from you. And when, they look at you or the program that they're doing, it's like, oh, this is the reason. The food is this the reason. It's like, what? We still got to look back in the mirror just a little bit. And I think those are some of the really tough conversations to have with the member that's wanting to cancel their membership. And you start hearing all the different reasons and excuses that start pouring out of their mouth. And it's tough as a coach. Sometimes I've been in that situation where you need some kind of tough love right now, and it's a hard position to be in, because then at the same time, like, your heart's bleeding for that person. You're like, I want what's best for you right now. And some of that might be a little bit of tough love. Like, you're not doing what you need to do, and having that little bit more stern conversation. Those are hard, because like, they know they've been lying to themselves for however long. Yeah. That's giving me just like, little shivers and chills.
That's hard. It's hard. It's generally hard.
When it's like, we're on the front lines of health in the nation, of like, not only within our current population, but like our youth sport athletes as well. It's like, we want if you create healthier individuals, you're going to create happier individuals. Like, rising tides rise all boats. Isn't that kind of a saying? It's like, the healthier
Sounds
person,
right.
But like, the healthier person is not like, your mental health is going to improve, your emotional health is going to improve. Like, physiologically, you are going to be able to have greater health outcomes in the long run, which is going to set your family up, yourself up, your kids up, your great grandkids up for success. It's like, be that person. If like, you can't keep saying like, oh, my family has a history of diabetes, my family has a history of whatever. Like, well, then be that person that just completely steers that ship.
Yeah, I think about how many people are like, oh, I'm the first person in my family to go to college. It's like,
I'm the first person in my family that actually decided to stick with a fitness program. I'm the first person in my family to like run a marathon.
Right.
Like, that's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's huge. Keep that up. You know, I'm the first person in my family to like actually be under 200 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. You know, that's just as impressive to me.
Break the cycle.
Yeah.
Break the wheel.
Ooh, there you go. Game of Thrones reference.
I'm saying thank you for getting that.
I did. Well, we just finished it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that next time. All right, everybody. For Kory and Croy, thank you for watching the Average Bros Gym podcast. I got to fucking rip a shower, as Kory says.
You got a hot date night.
Yeah, well, it's a birthday dinner for like 10 people, but sure.
Okay, close
Meg and I are going on. I guess it is a day for Meg and I. So, anyways, follow us on Average Bros Gym Podcast at gmail.com. Send us an email about what you want to hear about the story of the podcast. No one does that, so be the first one to do that. I'm not gonna lie. And then also follow our YouTube channel as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Average Bros Gym Podcast. And then also, y'all, all the fun things. Just make sure you're paying attention, make sure you're listening, make sure you tell your friends about us. That is the best way to make us grow. So if you have some friends or family members that are interested in just listening more, or
yes, please,
that could help, that maybe you think this could help them, like our angry rants, maybe they would vibe with, whatever, let them know about the show. Anyways, y'all, thanks for listening, and we will see you again real soon, probably after the 50K.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, can't wait.
Cool. All right. Anyways, peace out, y'all.
Later.
Bye.